After the events of George Floyd, the tension everywhere was palpable, dripping. You could watch the television, and this show was promoting angle 1. That show was promoting angle 2, and it felt like the goal of everyone was to separate the country into 2 teams. And I knew that wasn't right. I knew that wasn't okay, and I knew that wasn't what the church was supposed to be. So the Sunday morning after, we were not going to let that fester. And to see that one of our priorities as a church, as the bride of Christ, was to not allow this church to get divorced. We were not going to let that happen. We immediately held a panel. We talked about it. We aired it out as if it was like a marital counseling session. And one of Whitney, my wife, one of our dearest friends in the world, Aisha and Dewan, that same week, we sent them a message. We're like, we love you. I don't know what to feel. I know that you're going through something very different than I'm going through. We need to talk. In the same way that the church needed healing, I know that our relationship with them needed healing, and we just went over and we had a conversation with them for the sake of understanding. And to see the church, our church, come together in a way that was fighting for something that it knew was worth maintaining was something I'll never forget.
Since we started coming to City Life Church, now City Life Houston as the name has changed, it's been interesting because we really have become part of the community. And that's an aspect of my, path of faith that I guess is a little unique from where I saw myself to be. Having been away from organized church for literally over 3 decades, I never really saw myself becoming part of a community and actually being, deeply involved in it. But having been involved in the things that my wife and I have been involved in has been very meaningful for us. We've had the opportunity to meet a lot of new people, to share with younger people, to hear the younger people's stories.
I felt pretty early on that this was a special place because of the people that were involved within it. And I'll give a special shout out to Brian Lemon. When I was going through some pretty tough times, without even having to get into too much detail, darkest times of my life personally, needed to move out of my current apartment and move really quickly. I don't even remember how he found out, but one day I just got a knock on the door, and it was Brian. And he showed up and said, I heard you needed help moving. I'm here all day. The memory that I have of it is he was unscrewing the blinds at my apartment to take them outside to wash them because they were dusty enough that he thought I wouldn't get my deposit back, and washed them over and over again and helped me put them back up. And I just won't forget that. I mean, it was that kind of a commitment, and I could just see Jesus and the people of this church in a way that I had never seen Jesus and people at any church that I'd ever attended before. And I've been attending church since I was born.
We should invest in a church community, not only to hold us accountable for different sins that we may be falling into, but also just for that fellowship, growing together, sharpening one another in the Word.
Starting small group, which was a very intimate time for me. Our leader, Christian, was just so great, and leading that. And I felt so at home. I felt, 6 people, I could be vulnerable with 6 people. And then that's kind of where community hit home for me. And one specific scripture that I have here that just really set the tone for how City Life impacted me the most with community is, if one prevail against him, 2 shall withstand him, and a 3-strand cord is not easily broken. I just think about that quite often because I am quite often someone who just wants to do things alone. I wanted to fix myself before God. I want to brush my teeth before going to the dentist and be just cleansed. But like Jesus, these people met me exactly where I was at. And with other people, with other believers, I have become so much stronger.
So this is a place that has been involved in every formative piece of my life since I was 23. And I've met my wife here. We've had our kids here. Our best friends are here.
It's very impactful. And so we need to devote our time to this. It says that we should not forsake the gathering of believers. And I would always read that scripture, but I was like, oh, no, Lord, whenever I have the resources, the time, there's never going to be the right time. We have to invest now in the Lord. And so really just want to encourage anybody out there, if you're not wanting to join a small group, don't hesitate. Just go. Go one time, see how it is, and continue coming back. Whatever you give to God, He will multiply. And just continue coming to church. Continue being filled. Don't run out after the service is over. Stay, talk to someone, and you will be filled. The Lord wants to work through people, and He's doing that. So let's just allow Him to do so.